first thing I want to show you is actually Bill Maher, and a little compilation of Bill Maher saying this.
I don't see him leaving willingly. I don't see
Donald
him
Trump
leaving under any condition.
leaving the White House.
People knocking on the door with guns. But he'd be Scarface. I just don't see this man giving it up. And I just think he has many cards he hasn't played yet. He is not going to leave until he wants to leave. I don't think he would even leave if he lost an election in 2020. Oh, I'm the guy who says he's not leaving even if he loses the election. No. People have been saying I'm an alarmist and I'm crazy because I keep saying he's not going to leave even if he
So
loses.
as you can see, the clip goes on for another 70 seconds, and it's him saying that over and over and over and over and over and over again. And he did say that, Trump, that was his projection, that Trump wouldn't leave. And of course, Trump left. And we were all a bit like, I understand what you're saying. He's going to put up a big fuss, but he eventually left. So one of Trump's lawyers, there's been footage of one of Trump's lawyers, Jenna Ellis, from her deposition released today. I want to play it to you, and then we'll talk about Trump not leaving office if he gets in this time. This is them talking about pre-2020, right?
Okay. And at the time period where we're going to start to discuss, what was Dan Scavino's role?
At the time, I believe his title was social media director for the White House. It became deputy chief of staff at the time that the conversation in question took place.
Okay, and when was that?
The conversation was around December 19th of 2020 at the White House Christmas party. And I emphasized him. I thought that the claims and the ability to challenge the election results was essentially over, because he said to me in a kind of excited tone, well, we don't care and we're not going to leave. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, well, the boss, meaning President Trump, and everyone understood the boss, that's what we all called him. He said the boss is not going to leave under any circumstances. We are just going to stay in power. And I said to him, well, it doesn't quite work that way, you realize. And he said, we don't care.
Okay.
There you go. So from his lawyer, I guess you'd have to say allegations of, but most people are looking at this and thinking truth. Bill Maher was correct in what Trump had a desire to do, not leave no matter what, according to his former lawyer, one of his former lawyers. But in practice, I guess he did. But very interesting, Joey?
Yeah, it is interesting. And we've gone through the bizarro mirror into the bad place several times, but it's a view into something that could have been a hell of a lot worse.
Yeah,
a hell of a lot worse. There's some comments in the chat that this sort of stuff is going to keep on ticking and bubbling away, right? All the polls suggest that Trump is, even now, the front runner for the Republican nomination.
You add all the other nominees up and they still don't get to the same number as Trump has by himself.
That's fucking insane. And then I think the Democrats have exactly the same problem that they had last time round, is if the other side's going full on populist, full on crazy town, strap in, this is going to be a wild ride, Saturday Night Live writers are going to be stoked. But the Democrats are going to run with the same old neoliberalism that they've always done, and nothing to really combat the real problems that people in America see. They could tap into a massive movement of people that are just disheartened with how the things are, but they won't do it. Yeah. They won't do it. And they don't have a third alternative.
Well, that's the thing. It's also the idea that we talked about prior to the last election that Labor cocked up. It's give me something to vote for. And respectfully to Joe Biden, there's been some pretty big things that have got through in this term. A lot of Americans, when they look at him, they don't see something to vote for, even though you can't really question what he's managed to get through in this. If you actually look at the list of accomplishments, it's been pretty spectacular, but they don't look at someone to vote for. And as you say, Chewy, they see same old, and you've got the Tasmanian devil in one corner and you've got a baby seal in the other with big eyes looking just like it's gonna just be there always as it always has. It's fairly terrifying to think. If it is Joe, look, this is going to sound horrible, but if Joe Biden sees the next election, basically talking about his age, nothing else, and if Trump's not sitting in a jail cell, there was commentary I read this week that talks about there's an expectation if he's found guilty, he can do nothing but go to jail. Now, I of course think a president going to jail is ludicrous, but it might mean there's a home detention or somewhere how he can't actually be president. I don't know. So I guess we'll see what happens.
I think the other thing that's worth pointing out is, we can talk about that left-right paradigm over in the States. It is not what we see over here. If you're properly left in the US, you have nobody and nothing. You are not involved in the presidential race at all.
Yeah.
Correct. It's a two-party system, and the left is completely ignored. Yeah. The American left is our right of center.
It's basically a centrist candidate and a right-wing candidate. That's the two candidates that are going to be there.
And again, I think we're going to get commentators like ourselves, but with a budget. Basically talking about the issues and the policies and the budgets and that sort of thing, and they're going to do exactly what we did here in New Zealand. Is that's cool and all, and it's great that one team actually has a coherent plan, but the other guy is just spitting vibes, and people will vote on vibes.
Yeah,
and I don't think anybody's really got an answer for that. Like you said, Biden's turn at the wheel has been reasonably solid. He's turning the economy around. There's been some good wins, but it's not sexy.
No, it's like when you do renovations on a house and you do all the plumbing. It's not the stuff that the real estate agent comes and sees. It's all the stuff behind the scenes that makes the house imperative to work and operate more, operate better. But it's not a flash marble bench that you see or a gold tap.